Hello guys, welcome to my channel. I welcome you all here. Now I'll be teaching you guys in this class about the history class 12 syllabus. This is my first video I'll be uploading on my channel. October Star Creating Toppers. You can contact me on my Instagram ID, on Gmail, on my WhatsApp number if you have any doubts. And you can also visit my blogspot. So what is actually there in history class 12 syllabus? Previous year you all studied about world history, focusing on very selected important events, but this year we are going to study about Indian history from its beginning. I know how boring world history can become sometimes when you all tend to be so focused, so much importance is faced on the Indian history, so much how we can identify ourselves with India. So this year's history, the syllabus is actually quite more interesting than last year's. So your book is divided into three books over 3 periods of time. Your book 1 is about the ancient history. You will be starting at the beginning of the civilization, the first civilization in the subcontinent, that is the Harappan civilization, till the origin of Buddhism. And then the book 2 is about medieval history, and the whole topics of the medieval history are concentrated on around the Mughals during the Mughal period. Book 3 is about modern India, and it consists of the colonial India, the period and the conditions of people during colonial India, and also about the independence movement. So, history, it is a very vast subject. There are a lot of events happening in history and we don't know what events to study. So, the topics that are to be studied by you all in class 12 have been chosen carefully so that you all can get a clear picture of the few major events in history which are very important in the Indian history. So this is the distribution of marks over the chapters. You can take a look. Syllabus. What exactly are you going to study this year? So everyone, this is your book 1. This is how it looks like. This book has 4 chapters. I have already told you about that it is about the ancient history. So the chapter 1 is about the Harappan civilization. The chapter 2 is about the early states and towns, which concentrate on the Mauryan Empire. Chapter 3 is about the social life, about the social relationships, which they explain with a special reference and meaning from the Mahabharata. Chapter 4 is about religion, and in this chapter we will be focusing on Buddhism, how it originated and its importance. This is your book 2 and this is how your book looks like. This book has 5 chapters and it is about India's medieval history. So chapter 5 is about 3 travelers from various places who visited the subcontinent during the medieval period and the books that they wrote. They wrote what they observed around them. Chapter 6 is about the Bhakti and Sufi traditions, which was in contrast to the religion of Hinduism. Chapter 7 is totally about the Vijayanagar kingdom and it's a very interesting chapter. Chapter 8 focuses on the social conditions. This can become a bit tedious for you to understand, but this is an important chapter. Chapter 9 is about the Mughal Empire. This is another very interesting chapter. This is how your book 3 looks like. Your book 3 has 6 chapters in total and it covers the time period from colonial India till the making of the constitution. Chapter 10 focuses on the area of Bengal, about the permanent settlement and the Bombay, the Deccan riots. Chapter 11 is about the War of 1857, the first war of independence. Chapter 12 is about colonial cities, how the architecture, basically the architecture of the colonial cities. Chapter 13 is solely attributed to Mahatma Gandhi. His from the time he returned to India from South Africa till his death, with emphasis on the three major movements launched by him. This is a very interesting chapter and it throws Mahatma Gandhi in a different light from what we have always studied about him. Chapter 14 consists of the time period of partition, the trauma when what the people went through and what the government did. This is a very emotional chapter where you have to think by yourselves what you would have felt what the people went through. Chapter 15 discusses the making of the Indian Constitution. And this is another very important and very interesting chapter which you really are going to like it very much. How to study history. What you are actually studying is actually the wrong way to study history. In humanities, history is a very important and the required subjects that many students find dull and boring. But history can also be fun and exciting, especially if you do it with right attitude and if you do it with interest. So there's this a Spanish philosopher, George Santayana, who said that those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. In other words, if you fail to learn from past mistakes, you're likely to make them yourselves again. But there are many other reasons to study history. It provides the knowledge of the past. It also develops skills which can prepare you for your career opportunities. Now let's see some useful techniques and strategies which will improve your effectiveness of your studying the subject history. So here are some quotes to inspire you to actually study history. This is one of my favorite quotes. A people without the knowledge of the past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. And this is another one. There are still many causes worth sacrificing for. So much history to be made, by Michelle Obama. So the first strategy is to develop your ideas through thinking and then make connections between them. For example, history is basically a chronology of events. That is, everything that has happened in history is time bound. So you can take your notes in a chronological order. Another way is to make mind maps. You can connect events to another event and then to another event. For example, in the chapter Mahatma Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi launched three major events. First was the non-cooperation movement, second was the civil disobedience, and third was the Quit India movement. You can make a flow chart or a mind map by putting one below the other, telling in a chronological order, which will be easier for you to learn what happened first and what happened after that. Then after you have developed these mind maps or flow charts, you can write some small notes beside them for you to understand what important things have happened under those movements. This will be much easier to learn what happened. Remember the important details. For example, Mahatma Gandhi returned back from South Africa in 1915. Yeah, I guess it's 1915. I really forgot. He returned in 1915, for example. That year is a very important year. It marks occasions of many different things. And the very next year, he went around traveling. All these things are very important. Uh, watch movies and documentaries. Watching movies and documentaries are a very important, they are a very effective way to learn history. Watching movies, they are, what are movies? They are basically pictures which are moving, and it can be more effective and more understandable when we actually look by our eyes. So there are many different movies and documentaries on various topics out there in YouTube and other on Amazon Prime. You can watch it anywhere. For example, there is this movie on Mahatma Gandhi, uh, named Gandhi, by Ben Kingsley. He's the main actor, and this also won the he also won the Oscar that year. It's a very interesting movie. You actually see how what struggles that Mahatma Gandhi went through, and dash dash dash. NCRT is the Bible. Do not stray around your book. Don't go anywhere else, because the teacher or whoever is taking your exam is going to ask nowhere from your book. Cram up everything. Don't cram. Understand what's happening. Then you can recite it by your own words, because cramming is actually learning without actually knowing what's happening. So don't cram it up. These are all ways how you can actually read a chapter, a book. How to prepare for history board exam. In a country like India, medicine and engineering, they are very important, and they are only the ones supposed to be so serious that everyone knows that. But today, it's not like that. Everyone knows that how important humanities has become. There are so many opportunities, much more than the science groups and the maths group have. From a very young age, kids are forced to fall in love with maths and science, even though they hate it. And social science is just ignored, even though the child gets the best marks in social science, because the child understands it much better. So it's the child is made to love maths and science so much that he or she develops a fear of history so much. So this I'll tell you here how you can remove your fear of poor history and its board exams. Prepare your own notes. The best way is to write your own notes from your book, because you know what you're looking for, you know what the answer you want, and you know what lines are important, you know what topic is important. And you also are actually learning the topic, what's is happening inside that topic. use mnemonics to memorize facts. Mnemonics is a very interesting and important way to learn anything. In mnemonics, you actually understand or learn a chapter in a chronological order. For example, this happened first and then this happened. That recall of one thing leads to the recall of another thing. That is what basically mnemonics is. All those students who have actually taken psychology in 11th will know what mnemonics is. Be familiar with the format of the exam. The format of the exam is always changing. It's always changed by CBSE. Just previous year they have added 20% objective questions, and they have also added case-based questions, source-based questions, so many. So you have to be familiar what is coming, so you can be thorough with that part. Do not beat around the bush. This is what most people do. This is what most people think that history is all about. You can just write 4 lines and then the teacher will put a tick mark and you'll get all the marks. But history is not just writing mere 4 lines. You have to write the details of the events. That the dates are not that important. The events are. Then you have to explain what happened in those events. So this is what you get your marks for, not for beating around the bush. Read out aloud while studying. It's actually said that when you read silently, then when you read aloud while studying, you are actually activating a lot of your senses. You're activating your mouth, you're activating your brain to actually what you're saying, you're activating your ear, that every part gets accustomed to what you're learning. Do lots of practice tests. Practice tests are very important so that you know where you're lacking, where you're losing time, where you're going wrong, so that you don't lose anywhere, you don't lose marks. Because you either write too much in 3-marker questions or you write too much less in 8-marker questions. Either way, you're losing marks. So you have to take practice tests so that you write the right amount of information. You can do it if you can just be persistent in your efforts with the most minimal push put by you. Thank you very much. This was my first video and I hope you can like, you can comment and you can subscribe on my channel. And I'll be coming with more videos as time goes.